Hello, everybody. Thank you for clicking on. We are live. It is 11:05 p.m. Eastern, 10:05 p.m. Central, 9:05 p.m. in the Mountain, and 8:05 p.m. on the West Coast. 4/21/2024. This is Eyes Open on the American Doofus channel. Well, the title. Remember those pipe bombs? I put booms in the title for purposes of hoping that it just doesn't draw as much attention. Let's put it that way. So there were two pipe bombs on January the 5th that were discovered on the early morning of January 6th. I don't know if you remember that or not, but there were indeed two pipe bombs. And the question, who did that? You know, it's almost 4 years from the day, and we have no idea who did that. I just find that rather fascinating. So that is kind of what tonight is going to focus on for a couple of reasons, and we'll get to those coming up here. Again, thank you for clicking on. No matter if you're watching at your convenience or if you're watching live, if you're in the chat, thank you very much. I will get over there to everybody in just a few moments, but let's get rolling. This is from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, otherwise known as the FBI. This is from their website, and this is dated September 8, 2021. FBI Washington Field Office released new information and video regarding the suspect who placed pipe bombs, multiple pipe bombs, in the Capitol Hill neighborhood of Washington, D.C. on January 21st. And the FBI is seeking additional tips from the public. Identifying the perpetrator of this attempted attack remains a priority for the FBI, Washington Field Office, and our partners at the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, U.S. Capitol Police, and D.C. Metro Police. So it was a priority back in 2021. New information includes a virtual map that highlights the route the suspect walked while placing the two bombs on Tuesday, January 5th. Let me highlight this. The route the suspect walked while placing the two bombs on Tuesday, January 5th, 2021, between 7:30 p.m. and 8:30 p.m., the night before the riots at the U.S. Capitol. One device was placed in an alley behind the Republican National Committee headquarters, located at 310 First Street Southeast, and the other placed next to a park bench near the Democratic National Committee headquarters, located at 430 South Capitol Street. All right. Let's look at a map. This is a terrain map of the Capitol of the United States. Here's the Republican National Committee, and then right here is the Democratic National Committee. Again, the Democratic National Committee, Republican National Committee. There's only one street, basically. Well, there's two counting Jersey, but they're well within walking distance of each other, and a lot of people don't even know these places exist. The National Democratic Club, which I've been fortunate to be at both of these places, and actually met someone for an interview outside the RNC, Republican National Committee. So I know where both of these places are. There was a bomb placed here. There was a bomb placed here. I think it's incredibly important. Let's switch here. So here's the Republican National Committee, and here is the Democratic National Committee. I've got the video coming up here in just a couple of moments, and we'll show you what the latest, and this is not new, but this is what the FBI has. We'll show it coming up here in a minute. I find it significant that we talk about this and we do not forget this. And I think it's kind of been swept under the carpet, if you will, because the fact that 2 pipe bombs were placed, I think is significant. They were placed the night before, which means that at least somebody wasn't planning on a peaceful tour of the Capitol, as many as many try to portray the events of that day. The fact that there were 2 pipe bombs placed the night before, I think that's a pretty good indication. I mean, logic should tell you that that there were those planning for other activities. Now, the fact that they were placed at the Democratic National Committee and the Republican National Committee tells you 2 things. It tells you that either whoever did this was trying to frame somebody else for doing it by attacking eventually or attacking both traditional parties, Democrat and Republican. Sorry, got a little bit of a runny nose. It's cold here tonight. Apologies. So they're either trying to frame somebody or they have an axe to grind against both parties. Either one of those points towards the people that were responsible for the riot at the Capitol, the Trumpers, if you will. And I'm not saying those on the ground. Those on the ground had no idea any of this was going on. I'm sure most of them, if not the incredible vast majority of them, had no idea there were pipe bombs being planted at both National Committee headquarters, Democratic and Republican. But there were. Somebody was trying to frame Antifa and BLM by attacking both traditional parties, or somebody within one of those parties that wanted neither party, but wanted something called MAGA to be the law of the land. They would attack both traditional parties. So it's significant, in my opinion, that this is not swept under the rug, that it's talked about, that it's discussed, that it's solved. And I'd like to spend some time trying to solve it. There's a $500,000 reward, a $500,000 reward, a $500,000 reward, and nobody knows anything. Okay, to me, that tells me that it's not some low-level person. It's not somebody that doesn't already have a significant status. Because if they didn't, they would have blabbed to somebody else, and that somebody else could use a $500,000 and would have turned them in. No, this was done by somebody with power, where their sphere of influence, the people they hang out with, the people they confide in, the people they party with, so that if they get too loose-lipped with alcohol or some other substances, they don't spill the beans. People that are in on it as well, in other words. Does that make sense? I hope it does. And all of this is just my summary of all of this. Let me know what you're thinking, either in the comments below if you're watching at your convenience. If you're watching live, jump into the comments and let me know what you think about this. a $500,000 reward. And that was posted. That's not something new either. That's been up there for a long time. And again, if it wasn't somebody of status, one of their confidants would have come forward and said who it was and claimed that $500,000. So let's work on it. Let's figure it out. Let's find out. You know, I know Anarchy Princess is out there, and I know Anarchy Princess is very familiar with the Capitol building. Now, most people aren't familiar with either one of these headquarters. They're both kind of tucked away, and it's done on purpose so that that attention's not drawn to them. You can't get in there. You can't get in the Democratic Club without you can't get in the Democrat Club without invitation. And well, I'm not going to tell you all the details on that. I'll save that for another time. But you can't get in the Democratic National Committee building either without appointment. And I'm sure it's that way at Republican National Committee headquarters. They don't want the public knowing where these places are, which is another thing that I think whoever planted those pipe bombs had to be familiar with the area. And I don't know, maybe Anarchy Princess can take up some. She's been doing some good stuff as far as her court reporting and stuff. Maybe she can pick this up and solve it out there with the help of the internet. I don't know. I just want to draw attention to it. So here is the latest footage of what they're calling the January 5 pipe bomb investigation. And this is the suspect right here. You see the suspect walking up. Now, okay, I want to point out something that I noticed. Let me back up and back up just a little bit more and bring this up to full screen. Now, everybody has a pretty good idea how tall the handlebar is to the ground of these scooters. And I think most people are familiar with these scooters in urban areas. And we see that the bar of the scooter comes just below the shoulder of the suspect. Now that tells me that's either a really small man or female, more than likely, just from this one clue. And again, I'm not making any declarations. I'm not making any accusations. I'm just assessing potential information. Okay, goes over and sits down. It looks to me like it's a female sitting down. I can't say that for sure, but just body language is all I'm basically going on. And you can, feel free to comment. Again, let me know what you think in the comments below, or if you're watching live in the comments, I'll get over there here directly. Maybe I'm, if I'm full of crap, let me know I'm full of crap, but let me know why. Don't just start calling names because you happen to be thinking this didn't happen or whatever, or you don't want, you're not sure you want to know who's responsible. Just the way that sit down with the hands on their knees in front, like I think girls used to be taught to sit that way because they had dresses and skirts on. Um, and it might be just a force of habit. Let's watch it one more time. Okay. And I don't know if guys sit down that way. I don't. I sit down with my hands out to the side of me. Um, but this video is still going on here. And you see a bag that has the pipe bomb or bombs if one of them's already been placed. One of them, once again, placed at the Republican National Committee, and the other one at the Democratic National Committee. So they wanted to cause chaos at both, in both parties. And again, I think this might have been intended to be part of a plan. Because right afterwards, everybody was saying, "Oh, that was Antifa, that was BLM, that wasn't the Trumpers and the militias, the Proud Boys, the Oath Keepers, the 3%ers. It wasn't them." And a lot of people that there were not part of those organizations. All right, we cannot lump everybody into the same kettle. This is the latest from the United States Congress, and this is a transcript. Suggested the FBI could not even determine whether the placement of the pipe bombs was a diversionary tactic. So basically saying, thus far, the FBI hasn't been able to determine anything, is what this document says. It looks like, Mr. Massey, are you familiar with the diversion thesis? That these were set up to be a diversion. And that is a distinct possibility, that the pipe bombs were not going to be let off until the riot at the Capitol had been going on, and with the bombs, attention would have been drawn to those bombs, and there's no way that there could have been enough resources to go to secure the Capitol, and they didn't need to set those pipe bombs off as it worked out. But anyway, that's a different episode. Mr. Massey, are you familiar with the diversion thesis? And he says, yes, I've heard people say that, but if you watch, I've done a lot of media reports. I was trying to get the information out there, tips and stuff like that. I will not speculate. I'm not going to speculate. I think that's speculation. When people say that it's a diversionary tactic, we'll never know until we find the person who actually did, or persons that actually did it. So I can't speculate. Could it have been? Yes, that's one theory. But it's one theory. Is it the only theory? I don't really know. I've got two other theories, obviously. Mr. Massey, it looks like the head Capitol Police believe it was a diversion. And so Steve Sudd, Chief of Police, wrote in his book, the guy didn't solve the crime, but the guy wrote a book about it. Pure speculation, no intelligence. We don't, here we go. This is what I've been trying to get at. We don't know. We don't even know what gender at this point, as to, we could speculate, but there's a lot of people that are speculating as to the gender. Count me in that. I'm one of them, as you just heard. So, what happened? Who would benefit from a successful takeover of the United States Capitol, who would be so passionate that they would plant bombs at both conventional party headquarters? Who knows the area and would know where to go to, well, be avoided by direct and close proximity, to be able to travel and not be in direct and close proximity to security cameras. This is not some random thing. This is something somebody planned out. Somebody probably exercised. They rehearsed this multiple times before that actual night, because either that or they're incredibly lucky because they were successful. So I'm going to be talking more about this, obviously, and I want to hear from you. If you have a theory, if you know something, especially if you know something and you're scared, email me. American Doofus, AmericandDufus @gmail.com. I won't be telling anybody anything other than information that I'm allowed to share. Otherwise, everything will just be on a purely investigative level, and until we find out something. But I think it's important we find out who put those pipe bombs there and why. Why did they put them there? All right. Next topic. And this is, this is something I never thought I would do. I sat for 3 hours and 7 minutes, almost 3 hours, 8 minutes, and listened to Tucker Carlson and Joe Rogan have a conversation. It was incredibly interesting to me to spend that much time doing it. Some of the stuff, especially in the beginning, I thought was incredibly fascinating, honestly. And I'm going to play for you a couple of things here, and then we'll get to the rest of the episode. To me, okay, I'm agreeing with what he's saying here, and to me, that is a big concern about the number of immigrants coming into our country, and they perhaps do not bring that same traditional respect level of how society should function. Okay, as I said, I watched the entire 3 hours, and so you don't have to. Let me say some things about Tucker Carlson. He has worked with an incredibly diverse number of people. He came from a very privileged background, for those that don't know. Very sheltered and pampered. He spent time traveling around with the Grateful Dead. Saw 50 Grateful Dead shows. Talks about eating mushrooms and too many mushrooms. His dad was well connected, and that's how he got his connections. And when he talks, when he's talking about some of this stuff, he's actually well connected. So if you are on the left or lean left, and you want to watch this, put the Fox News Tucker Carlson to the side, because what you're going to get is not the Fox News Tucker Carlson. Now, I'm not carrying water for Tucker Carlson. I'm not, up here saying, yay, raw Tucker Carlson. I'm just saying, I think since he got out of his little sheltered bubble, his eyes might have got open a little bit to what's going on. Because before this clip is over, you're going to hear him say, if you think electing significance and me adding this to this episode, again, I didn't think I would ever agree with Tucker Carlson on anything, but he's telling all of us, yes, even the Trumpers, he's telling you all that we need to really pay attention to our government. Okay, when I'll leave it at that. Okay, I'm going to take umbrage here. I don't think that's true. I think the average American still has more privacy than the average North Korean, simply because North Koreans will rat their neighbors out. Not that Americans won't, but unless there is a reason for them to be spying on you or on me or on us or whatever, which there isn't, chances are they're not. It's not like, there's enough people to monitor every single body. No. However, they're wanting the potential to be there to monitor anybody for any reason. And to me, that's an incredible danger to democracy. There we go. A little bit of Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson on there. Again, something I thought I would never, ever do. And there's a lot of talk within this 3-hour period, a lot of mention of the elites. And apparently, despite coming from well-to-do, he doesn't have the correct lineage. I'm talking about Tucker Carlson, the correct lineage to be considered in the elites. Now, I talk about the possibility of an elite group that want to create a new world order where everyone is under the same government, the same religious faith or lack thereof, and everyone has the same currency and everyone is monitored constantly. And it all kinds of ties in with what he's saying here about pointing out some of the things that are attempted and have been attempted. Now, if there was a group of global elite, I would think that there would be a relatively small number. And I came across the 300 men who run the world. All right, of course, Wikipedia. The second listing is from the CIA, the Central Intelligence Committee, and they have a 169-page booklet called Conspirators' Hierarchy, the story of the Committee of 300. Okay, 169-page book. Now, that alone draws a little bit of shade of conspiracy. Is this a predictive programming tool? Is this something that debunks the idea of an elitist organization based upon, well, let's see. Let's see what Wikipedia says. The Committee of 300, also known as the Olympians, is a conspiracy theory. Of course, everything's a conspiracy theory until some things become facts. That claims a powerful group was founded by the British autocracy in the the aristocrats, the frickin' rich people in Britain in 1727, before the United States was even here, and that they, the British, actually rule the world. Proponents of the theory allege the committee's existence believe it to be an international council that organized politics, commerce, banking, media, and the militaries for centralized global efforts. Okay. The theories date to a statement made by a German politician in 1909. 300 men, no women, 300 men, all of whom know one another, guide the economic destinies of the continent and seek their successors from their own milieu. So, who would these people be? Well, I'm going to get into, I'm going to read through once again, so you don't have to. If you want to, I'm telling you where you can see it here. But you don't have to, because I'm going to read through the CIA and see if we can't find out who some of these 300 might be. I'm sure some of you watching, if you're watching, thank you very much. I greatly appreciate it. Again, if you're watching at your convenience, let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you're watching live, hop in the comments and I'll get over there in just a few moments here once we get through the X-Files. Who are some of these people? Well, we will talk more about that in upcoming episodes. Let's jump to the X-File. And first story is that Trump is worried about pecker leaking. I don't know, maybe, like rectal eruption might be something he should be considered about too. No, that's the reason he's worried about pecker leaking is because the first witness in the trial tomorrow, David Pecker, is expected to be the first witness in Trump trial. So it seems like the prosecution is coming with Pecker right out of the box. And Pecker is he was, I should say, he not is, but he was the leader of the National Enquirer, and he's a central figure in all of this. The illegal use of campaign funds to pay someone to remain quiet to influence an election. They're calling it a hush money trial. First footage of a fire in Syria. There's a crude oil pipeline that has been struck, and this was 14 hours ago. So too many more of these in that region, and prices of gas will be climbing. You might hear a little about this finally. Chris, if you're new to this, thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe, hit the like, hit the share. Chris Martin, security expert, counterterrorism specialist, military expert, is on with me at least once a week at 9 p.m., either Monday or Friday is usually when it happens. Again, hit the subscribe, like, and share, and notification bell so you know when we're on. But we have been talking about what's been going on in this year and in Africa, as well as what's been going on in Haiti. And of course, we talk about what's going on in Gaza and Israel. But the U.S. is set to withdraw its troops from Niger as the region shifts its alliances towards Russia. About 1,000 U.S. troops will leave following the strategic pivot of the West African nation, leaning increasingly towards Russia. You're going to hear some of the far right say that the U.S. troops are being held hostage, blah, blah, blah. That's not what's happening. It's just an independent country is making an independent decision, um, and it is not in our favor. And if we're not careful, Haiti is going to do the same thing, and they are a lot closer to our borders. I'm just saying. Um, this was Paris today. An Afghan asylum seeker. There were 3 Afghan asylum seekers that were found dead. The Paris police ruled it a double murder and suicide. The Afghan asylum community is blaming Paris and the Paris police, and riots are going on in the streets of Paris right now. You probably won't see any of this on your mainstream media channels, your corporate mainstream media channels. Most mainstream, I mean, it's, if we were bigger, we'd be a mainstream media channel now, because this is what media is, as far as a vast majority of the public is it's what you're allowed to see on the internet, because you're not going to see it other places. French forces have arrived. Speaking of France, French forces have arrived in Odessa, Ukraine. This is indeed a massive development. These are the first official European forces openly coming in to aid Ukraine. As far as major NATO players, France is a major NATO player. So this is a line, a red line, that Putin said, if this happens, if NATO troops are on the ground, then then he's going to escalate use of weaponry, hinting at using nukes. Now, here's the diplomatic angle to this. These troops are calling themselves the French Foreign Legion. They're not officially sworn in as members of the French military. Will the Russians take that little tidbit as significant, or will it simply be a move that France is moving to aid Ukraine significantly in Russia? And don't forget, Russia's the ones that kicked France out of Africa, the African continent, before we begin to see United States interests possibly being asked to leave in a significantly bigger number. This is I'm just going to let you look at it and tell you, this is footage, supposedly, allegedly, of a UFO. I'm not saying it's extraterrestrial at all, because a portal forms, and this object slowly, not threatened at all by anything, moves through the portal, which dispenses. Great footage. Is it real? I don't know. I'm going to leave that up to you. We don't tell you what to think or how to think. I will tell you this: stay away from tornadoes. It's tornado season. No matter where you're at in the United States, every state in the United States has had a tornado. Most countries have had tornadoes now. China had a tornado 2 days ago. They never have tornadoes. You'll see that this lady was thrown out, and her vehicle is nowhere in sight. And that's a little small tornado. That's not like what I was in 1974. And thankfully, I haven't seen anything close to that since. But let's watch it again. You'll see the van come out and try to beat this car, and all it does is get swept into and into the vortex and away. And this lady ends up on the side of the road. I don't know if she was in the van. I don't know if it was she was in one of the other vehicles, but take tornado warnings serious. Take watches serious too. There's a difference. If there's a watch, it means conditions are right, or conditions will be right for a tornado to form. If it's a warning, it means that there's a tornado in your area and take action now. There's nothing higher than a warning other than you're hearing a tornado at your residence. This is another one of those really odd things that I love to show. I'm not sure how that ball got into that wall. Again, there's a close-up of it. Gives you an idea how high it is. Showing both how hard it would have been to do that, to put that ball there from the ground or from the air. And again, this, just giving you something to think about. It's the oddities of the X-Files. 3 hours ago, a man wielding an axe was shot by police at a Walmart in Easley, South Carolina. Again, I love y'all. I seriously do. I want everybody to be prepared for anything that might happen. And we do not live in the same world we lived in even 5 years ago or 10 years ago. We don't even live in the same world we lived in a year ago. That's how rapidly things are moving. And this is Easley, South Carolina. I've never heard of the place. It's not like you're going to be safe wherever you're at. Don't think that. Don't think that. Always be aware of your surroundings. And I'm not saying that to make anybody paranoid or panic. I'm saying it because I love you, and I want you to continue watching and emailing and commenting and living. Most importantly, living. But something's happening in Russia. Putin arrived at the Kremlin 11:10 p.m. about 6 hours ago, and this only happens when there's something significant going on. Normally, he doesn't go tearing into the Kremlin at 100 miles an hour when he's normally in bed. And I'm assuming this may have something to do with what I showed you just a little bit ago, that the first French troops have come into the Ukraine. I said the other night that my take on things was that Iran was not going to respond to the limited attack Israel launched in retaliation to the attack Iran launched on Israel. That they were going to go back. The two governments were going to step back to the time before Israel bombed the consulate in Damascus, and that Israel had other goals other than a war with Iran, and that Iran probably had at least one, if not more, nuclear weapons, which is now a deterrent on a major scale to Israel escalating. Neither one has escalated. Iran officially announced they weren't going to escalate. So I was right on that. And I said that chances are part of that deal was the United States said Israel can go into Rafah, and the United States isn't going to do anything about it or say anything about it. And unfortunately, the invasion and attack in Rafah has begun. Now, I'm not a prophet. I'm not not intentionally anyway. I just observed things, and the thing that told me, that led me to say Iran was not going to attack back, was the fact that CNN was reporting that Iran said nothing happened, and to me that was the whole key, that okay, Iran's going to let this go, and this isn't going to escalate. When the whole rest of the internet was going bonkers, saying, okay, it's World War III, here we go, here we go. That's probably going to happen at some point, but I was telling everybody to relax, just relax. Okay, there's, for those that don't know, there's this thing called the Freedom Corner, and they're outside the Washington, D.C. jail every day for like 3 hours. They set this thing up, and then they tear it down, and then they come back and set it up the next day. And one of the things they do is the J6 people in the, hold on, I want to pause this because that's the only part of it I really want to show here, and we're not going to. Okay. What they do is the prisoners that are either awaiting sentence or awaiting transfer to their next stop in the criminal justice system, the prison system, they call in to someone's phone at this J6 Freedom Corner, and complain about what's going on inside the jail, and the complain about the food or whatever, for whatever. And I want you to watch. Hold on, I do not want the volume. All right, you're going to see somebody come in quickly and grab not only the phone but the microphone, because they're wanting to control the narrative. What was coming out on the speaker, the microphone will blast everything on the loudspeaker as the phone is on speakerphone. And what was coming out was Brian Jackson, one of the J6ers, says he's a pro bono lawyer, and his wife flips out and grabs the phone and grabs the mic. Why does that matter? Because they do major fundraising to raise money to pay lawyer fees. And if he has a pro bono lawyer, that means the lawyer is working for free, and they are basically committing fraud and theft. And since it's being done over a phone, it's going to be wire fraud, and that's going to be RICO. How much money is involved? I have no idea. I just I don't follow this, but I do check in, obviously. And again, it's one of those, okay, we started the night out with, remember those pipe bombs on January 5th for January 6th, and who did that? Well, maybe some digging needs to be done on funds and on on things here, and maybe it's the internet that needs to be the hero in both of these cases. I don't know, just something to think about. Finding out what's actually happening with the money. The government cares about that, especially if there's tax fraud. And also to figure out just who put those bombs, who planted those bombs. I don't think that should be let go. Maybe it should be. Let me know what you think in the comments below, or if you're in the chat. I'll be there in just a couple of moments. There was a mass shooting at a block party, street takeover, car event, whatever you want to call it. It was in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm sorry, Memphis, Tennessee. And let's start with this box. I don't know how well you can see it, but there are young people walking up with obviously long guns. Hold on, we'll do this. No, all right. Okay, that's in Memphis, Tennessee yesterday. Let me exit here. Again, thank you all for watching. Here's a couple of still photos. You can see they put their guns in the air. The initial shots were fired into the air, which caused the crowd to run, and then they started engaging members of the crowd. Now, this is, normally, again, this happened yesterday. And I say we are in a different time than we were a year ago. A year ago, this happens, and it is on the news. It's all over the place because people died, people were shot. But now it's normal. I mean, it's not normal as far as rational, but it occurs so often that we become desensitized to this behavior and this violence, and it gets to where it's okay. It's far from normal, but it's not news. And that should make a statement to all of us. I hope it does anyway. It's not normal, but it's not news. Nothing to see here, just a river of ice. Okay, this is not a river of ice. This is, however, it is a river of hail. And this is in the desert in Saudi Arabia. And this is not normal, and this is what happens when man tries to play God and control the weather. All right, maybe something a little lighter. We need something a little lighter here before we get to the end. So this is this is a rhino walking down the street of Nepal, and this is a dog taking a nap on the side of the road. Oh, and the rhino just keeps meandering down. Yeah. I don't, I'm not sure how I would react if I woke up and saw a rhinoceros looking at me. Protests in Tel Aviv going on again. You're not going to be hearing about this on major news outlets, but this is what it looks like. This is what it looked like, demanding the resignation of Benjamin Netanyahu. And that's just one side of it. Here's the other side. So significant protests underway in Israel, which also, Netanyahu has to continue the fighting in Gaza, because if the country's not at war, the country is going to be focusing on, as they already are, trying him for crimes and removing him from office. And also charges have been filed, I believe, by the International Criminal Court for against Benjamin Netanyahu as well. Okay, this is something here. Let me bring this up to full, so you can see this. These are white-tipped sharks, and they are all resting. Okay, we're not going to play the music. They are all resting, and which is something you normally don't see. And then all of a sudden, this dude pops right in front of the lens. And that just, again, we got to smile. We can't get overwhelmed by darkness. We got to keep trying to be a light if we can in this very dark world. I'm gonna leave that up there. All right, I'm hop over here to the chat section for just a few minutes before I say goodnight, and I will say hello to let's get up here to this top. Hello, not going away. NGA, always appreciate everything. Hi, Shelly G, Big Spank Dog. Hello, Big Spank Dog. Another +1 adventure. Thank you for being here. The stunning one. Hello to the cunning stunt. Peace, love, and sunshine. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here and watching. It is always greatly appreciated. Now, Chris is going to be on with me tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern. That's 8 Central, 7 Mountain, and 6 Pacific. And Chris does not think NATO has a long future. The country of the country of Argentina has expressed interest in joining NATO. Of course, United States State Department has said Ukraine will be part of NATO. And Chris doesn't think NATO has a long future. And we're going to hear why tomorrow night. And I'm going to talk about something tomorrow night. I'm going to talk about General Mike Flynn. And does General Mike Flynn privately wish ill will against a former president of the United States? That's something we're going to talk about tomorrow night, as well as whatever else is going on. And I hope you'll join us. I hope you'll be with us. Hello there, Papa. Thank you for hopping on here. Thank you again. Thank you all. If you're watching at your convenience or if you're watching live, and we'll be back tomorrow night at 9. Thursday night, it's the NFL draft, and we're going to have the NFL draft spectacular. My buddy Mel's going to be here. Again, we need to have some fun and some frivolity, and we're going to do that Thursday night. So, thank you for watching. You can email me, americandoofus@gmail.com. And if you'd like to help support the show, Cash App's the best way at $American Doofus, AMERICANDUFUS. And I love y'all almost as much as chocolate chip cookies. And I like them when they come in like the chocolate chip cookie bars, like you make like a brownie tray of them. Yeah. Anyway, it is a dark world. Try to be a light. This has been Eyes Open on the American Doofus channel. Love y'all.